A strong trading approach is not built by using more indicators. It is built by understanding how the right indicators work together. In today's session, I'll combine the Schaff Trend Cycle with the MACD indicator to study momentum, market direction, and possible confirmation areas. The goal is not to predict every move, but to observe the chart with greater patience, clarity, and discipline. So first, let's understand how this strategy works under live market conditions, and at the end, I'll show you the complete indicator settings. For my first setup, I noticed that the previous bearish move was starting to lose momentum near the recent low. The Schaff Trend Cycle had been below the 25 level and then turned sharply upward, showing a possible change in short-term momentum. At the same time, the negative MACD histogram bars were becoming smaller, while the MACD lines also started turning upward. Price was beginning to stabilize after the decline, so with both indicators showing early signs of recovery, I considered a possible upward reversal setup. Since this was still an early reversal, I remained cautious rather than treating it as a confirmed move. This setup closed in the expected direction. More importantly, the key point here was that both indicators started showing a similar change in momentum. Now, let's continue with the next chart and see whether we can find another clear confirmation. If you have any questions, you can ask on Telegram. You will find the link in the description. For the second setup, I noticed that the previous bearish move was beginning to slow down near the recent low. The Schaff Trend Cycle turned sharply upward from below the 25 level and continued rising, suggesting a possible shift in short-term momentum. At the same time, the negative MACD histogram bars became smaller and started turning positive. Along with this, the green and red lines of the MACD have crossed each other and are moving upwards. With both indicators showing signs of recovery and price starting to move upward from the lower area, I considered a possible bullish reversal setup. Since the broader move had been bearish, I still treated this as an early reversal and remained cautious. This setup also closed in the expected direction. Now, let's continue and see whether the next chart gives us another clear example. This chart looks slightly different. The market is moving sideways, but we can see early signs of bullish momentum. The two indicators below are also supporting this possibility. The blue line of the Schaff Trend Cycle has moved up from the oversold zone and entered bullish territory. At the same time, the green and red lines of the MACD have crossed and started moving upward. Since this crossover occurred below the histogram, I considered it as additional confirmation of a possible bullish momentum shift. This setup also closed in the expected direction. The important point here was how both indicators supported the same momentum shift. Now, let's move to the next chart and look for another clear example. On this chart, the bearish shift had already started before my entry. The Schaff Trend Cycle had moved down from the upper zone and was already below the 25 level, while the MACD had also completed a bearish crossover and the red histogram bars were expanding. Price had already moved down from the recent high, so this was a slightly late entry. I still considered the setup because both indicators were supporting the same bearish direction, but ideally, I would prefer to identify this type of confirmation earlier. So this setup did not close in the expected direction. The main lesson here is that the entry came a little late, even though both indicators were showing bearish momentum. This is a good reminder that confirmation is important, but timing matters just as much. Here as well, the entry was slightly late, similar to the previous setup. However, this chart looked a little different because price was moving up from a strong support area, which suggested improving bullish momentum. At the same time, both indicators below were still showing a bullish condition. Based on this combination, I felt this could develop into a reasonable upward setup. This setup also closed in the expected direction. I had taken 2 entries here based on the same bullish confirmation. So here price was still showing steady bullish movement, while the Schaff Trend Cycle remained strong and the MACD histogram had turned positive. Since both price action and the indicators were still supporting the same direction, I considered another possible upward continuation setup. However, because the move was already in progress, I remained cautious with the timing. Now I'll show you the indicator settings on the screen, so you can understand exactly how this setup is configured.